So most people in the ripper industry regard Aaron Kosminski as Jack the Ripper. That's the closest we're ever kind of gonna, you know. A lot of people will say complete crap. But if it's, if it was good, Paul Begg's view is if it was good enough for the police in 1882 when he was kind of named as the #1 suspect in a book, then, it's kind of good enough. They viewed all the evidence. Anyway, so I just want to tell you something. So this is Batty Street. So this is where Dr. Tumblety lived in a hospital. But this is not the reason why I'm down here. So this street here, back in 1888, this was called Providence Street, and it ran along here. Now, this is where Aaron Kosminski lived, well, probably lived at the time of the murders, which was taken over 10 weeks, August the 31st to November the 8th, the 8th or 9th. So it's quite surreal to think that Aaron Kosminski, I mean, it's long, long gone now, but this was the road. And to give you an example of how close he was to the third murder from his home, I'll show you. It's literally 100 yards. So this is where, hello squirrel. So this is where Liz Stride was killed. So back in the Rippers era, it was called Berner Street. It's now called Henrique Street. So this was the road which kind of turned, and so you had Duffield's yard. So basically, this side was where someone saw him and shouted Lipski. It's quite complicated, but I'm not really down for that. I've done it in other videos. So what I want to say is basically, so there was a Jewish club there. A guy was coming down with his horse and cart and disturbed the Ripper. That was why basically Catherine Eddowes was killed 45 minutes later, because yes, he'd cut Liz Stride's neck. He never done what he wanted to do. So he would have basically, it's quite ironic that the two murders on the night are now schools, but Jack would have been, I'm convinced he would have been hidden here had Louis Deemshaw basically had a look in, but he didn't, and Ripper Jack kind of come out that way and thought, I have got to get this out of me. But yeah, that's very, very close. So Aaron Kosminski lived, you saw where he lived, and basically where Liz Stride's body was found, God rest, it would have been around, so this gate would have been, her body would have been found around there. And then of course all the screams and whistles and all the shouts of there's been another one, Sarge, and and then obviously of course 45 minutes later on, 0.6 of a mile square, there was another one. And so it just must have been absolute bedlam. But that's the first time I've ever been to that street. Obviously it's long gone now. But it was called, what did I say? It was called Providence Road. So that's where Aaron Kosminski lived at the time of those murders. So it would have been with one of his sisters. Of course, he was kind of nutted off. And we've not got any real 100%. I know Russell Edwards kind of come and it kind of proved on the shower, and we thought, oh, well, that's it. It's, it was, but, the actual fact that it basically was, it's not as convincing as, I spoke to Paul Begg about it and a few others, and, it's basically back to square one. But, if, we could find 100% evidence, would we believe it? I don't think we would, because then it would be kind of over. And as I say all the time, this is the everlast the Everest of that's a boxing make. The Everest of British crime, maybe even the world, the greatest whodunit. And I don't think we want it solving really. See, these last year there was a graffiti on it which said R.I.P. Elizabeth Stride.
You know,
So this is Henrique Street, which takes us onto Commercial Street. And yeah, that's the that was the road. It took a lot of research to dig and actually find that, you know. I was asking people, do you know where Providence Row is? Thinking, you know, when in actual fact it was from over 100 years ago.